Good morning, my brothers and sisters. Welcome to episode 3 of Be With Me. And this morning, we're once again going to put ourselves in front of the Word and see what happens. We're in Matthew chapter 2, and we find a nasty story. And I'm going to title this, People That Are Mistaken for the Lord. And I'm referring to the babies that are killed in a particular town. So let's listen to the story. This is Herod. Joseph has had a second of his 3 dreams. He fled to Egypt, and then this happens. This is Matthew chapter 2, verse 16. Then Herod, when he saw that he had been tricked by the wise men, became furious, and he sent and killed all the male children in Bethlehem and in all that region who were 2 years old or under, according to the time that he had ascertained from the wise men. Then was fulfilled what was spoken by the prophet Jeremiah. A voice was heard in Ramah, weeping and loud lamentation, Rachel for weeping for her children, for she refused to be comforted because they are no more. But then when Herod died, behold, an angel of the Lord appeared in a dream to Joseph in Egypt, saying, Rise, take the child and his mother and go to the land of Israel, for those who thought the child's life are dead. And he rose and took the child and his mother and went to the land of Israel. But when he heard that Archelaus was reigning over Judea in place of his father Herod, he was afraid to go there, and being warned in a dream, he withdrew to the district of Galilee. And he went and lived in the city called Nazareth, that what was spoken by the prophets might be fulfilled. He shall be called a Nazarene. So let's talk about Herod for a second. He killed his wife, killed some of his sons. Some of his sons lived, and that's who Archelaus is at the end of the story. Bad guy. It tells you what his motivation was, in that he thought he was tricked by the wise men, which they were told in a dream not to go back. So it wasn't a trick, it was more of a command from the Lord. He's furious and kills, my study Bible said 10 to 30 less than 2-year-olds in Bethlehem and the surrounding region. I'm not sure how they got that number, but what would be a good number? 2? 6, 9, whatever the number is, it's bad. And someday here's one of my thoughts for today, is someday I'm going to meet those people that were mistaken for the Lord. They thought they were the Lord, so they killed him. So a little bit of a harbinger of the death, sacrifice, and crucifixion of the Lord this morning. And then, of course, we have this horrible lament from the prophet Jeremiah, which refers to trying to wipe out her children. And we have Rachel weeping for her children, and a place weeping for her children. So it's just a horrible thing, grabbing these children and killing them because they thought they were potentially the Lord. So then we get a couple more dreams from Joseph. So an angel of the Lord appears to Joseph in Egypt, saying, Rise, take the child. So he rises, takes the child, and heads towards Israel. So he's below Israel, south of Israel, in Egypt. He first gets to the land that was given to the prophet Judah, that is Jerusalem and the area south of Jerusalem. So he's traveled 80 miles. And then, surprise, surprise, he hears that Archelaus, who's a worse character than even Herod, who just got done killing a bunch of babies and less than 2-year-olds, he is ruling over this area. So he is a Jewish person who is ruling over this Roman protectorate, and he was so nasty that the Romans had him removed. So he was even too nasty for the Romans over a conquered people. They thought there was going to be a revolution or something. So he only lasted 10 years in his position. Anyway, Joseph, taking care of his family at the time, knows this guy's a monster. So he doesn't stop in Judea. He goes another 80 miles and goes back up to Mary's hometown. So by my count here, I thought there was three, but verse 22 says there's actually a fourth dream. But when Herod heard that Joseph, heard that Archelaus was reigning over Judea in place of his father Herod, he was afraid to go there. And then here it is. And being warned in a dream, he withdrew to the district of Galilee. So Joseph gets four dreams. Three of them are specifically from angel dreams. This one doesn't specifically say that there was an angel, but what a relationship that Joseph had with his pillow. Oh my goodness. He's had four dreams that the Lord tells him something very, very specific. So how fun is that? And then finally, so finally they end up in Nazareth. And what's the big deal about Nazareth? Well, the answer is, absent Jesus, the answer is nothing. And so when Jesus was calling his disciples in John 1:46, Nathanael says to Philip, can anything good come out of Nazareth? Like, this is not saying like, hey, I'm from Sydney, Australia, or, I'm from Bonn, Germany, or some exciting city. I'm from New York City, some city that carries some cachet. It's like saying, no, I'm from just some podunk little town. You've never heard of it. Just, I'm from Nazareth. You never heard of it. So that's what it means that he's from Nazareth. So verse 23, he finally ends up, and he went and lived in a city called Nazareth, a real person, Jesus, in a real place with real parents who are afraid and poor and exiled and foreigners for a while and immigrants for a while, and all this, that he goes back to Nazareth, be safe, and the final line is, he shall be called a Nazarene. So someday, my big thought is, won't it be interesting to meet these young boys who were sacrificed because they thought they were Jesus? I thank you for listening. I'll see you all tomorrow.